everybody, it's Candace Renee, and welcome back to my channel, Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom to the middle to the full heart. I want to thank you so much in regards to your support, your comments, as well as your shares. It means the world to me. Y'all just don't understand. It means the world to me to know that somebody just cares about my voice. Like someone cares about what I've gone through, and it's also helping people to get over things. And that was the purpose of this channel as a whole, to be a gift to somebody else. So I'm so happy that it's doing what it needs to do. So all I need from y'all is, you don't have to do this right this second, but if you in fact like my content after watching this video and or seeing my other videos, please make sure you subscribe, you like, and you hit that notification bell. The notification bell is very important because a lot of people have been saying, hey, like, are you dropping videos? And I do. I drop them once a week. But what happens is if you don't hit this notification bell, it won't let you know when I drop it. So make sure you do hit that bell. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. So a few things with this particular slide. Number one, yes, my audience, my family, my tribe. Yes, I accidentally did put them out of order. You know, touche, y'all right. I was supposed to do this presentation before I did the burden of representation, but it's all right. It's all right. I did say I was going to keep on going. I'm not going to stress. I don't want y'all to either, but y'all are not crazy. So yes, this one was supposed to come before. Number two, in regards to boardroom behaviors, I want y'all to understand that I really want you to hone in on this topic, because a lot of this happens and we don't get to have a conversation about it. It's that kind of quiet as kept stuff that I talked about in previous presentations, and I need you to understand the importance of understanding what a boardroom behavior is, because when you experience it, you need to know how to react to it. So you want to know exactly what I'm talking about? I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about. Them unspoken rules, that coded language, that tightrope you feel like you got to walk just to be seen, heard, and respected in a space. Yeah, those boardroom behaviors I'm gonna be breaking down. So you may ask, why does this even matter for us? Like, what's the relevance of this topic? Well, Black professionals are often the only in a room, meaning that you may be the only Black person within the room. What that looks like is navigating representation, respectability, and resilience all at the same time. You need to know that the boardroom can be both an opportunity, which is great, but it can also be a battlefield. The boardroom is not neutral. I'm going to state this again, and you need to remember this. Take those notes. The boardroom is not neutral. Leadership spaces reflect the power structures of society. Professionalism is often coded in whiteness. So who gets to speak, who gets to be heard, and who belongs is based upon the structure of this boardroom. So what do we carry in a room? Well, we carry the pressure to code switch, meaning that how we talk and our mannerisms aren't appropriate for certain spaces. Just imagine your language not being appropriate. You might have the imposter syndrome, which is rooted in systemic exclusion. You might be expected to speak for all Black people. Remember that burden of representation? Here we go. And you might have a fear of being too loud, too emotional, or seen as too passionate. So let's talk about these unspoken boardroom rules that clearly weren't made for us. So speaking assertively without being labeled aggressive, expressing disagreement without being seen as difficult, and navigating tone policing and passive exclusion, as well as being expected to overperform just to prove we belong. So let's talk about the psychological toll. Let's talk about this scale that we have to balance every single day. Let's talk about being safe to speak versus strong enough to be silent. Let's talk about how microaggressions add up to macro exhaustion. And let's also talk about internalizing messages of being not enough. So I'm going to go ahead and set somebody mind free with this one right here. Let's go ahead and talk about these common challenges because, as I said before, and quite often, you are not alone. You are not in a silo. And Candace Renee is here to let you know that, honey, yes, you are sane. It's them. It ain't you, baby. So let's go ahead and go into these common challenges that are faced by Black professionals. Being interrupted and or dismissed. Credit being stolen and or being minimized. Being left out of pre-meeting conversations and or decisions. You want more? I got you. Let's talk about gaslighting in real time. Where your concerns are dismissed and you're too sensitive. Let's talk about how you're questioned more harshly than others. How about we talk about how you're asked to show proof when something is off? Okay, cool. You want more? I got you. Let's talk about tokenism versus real inclusion. Being invited only to the diversity discussions. Not being given strategic or decision-making influence. Being visible but not valued. Let's talk about idea appropriation. You share an idea? Guess what? It's ignored. And non-Black colleague repeats it later and it gets praised. How many times does that happen? You're constantly reasserting your intellectual properties, explaining who you are and your identity. You want more? I'm going to give you one more example. Silence as a strategy. Colleagues avoiding supporting your statements. Oh, because they don't see nothing. Quiet is kept. They don't see nothing. No one challenges unfairness in real time. Meaning that's that person that holler at you or give you that call later on in the day and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but won't dare say that in the boardroom. Yeah, let me go ahead and proceed. You're left to carry on at your own and to carry out your own defense, which can be lonely, which can be stressful, which can cause anxiety, which can cause depression. But you need to know that these are all boardroom behaviors. So I want to go ahead and take the time to talk about the burden of representation because I'm going to keep on tying it into the subject because this is where the pressure lies. So let me go ahead and start off with it's literally the burnout from carrying an invisible labor. I kid you not. Do you know how heavy it is to have to sit here and not be just yourself every time you walk into a space? Let's talk about how you can be labeled as a DEI expert simply for being Black. You didn't even ask for the role. You can just be literally given it. Let's talk about the pressure to mentor, advocate, and lead. Not only yourself, but your entire community. Let's talk about that thought of if I mess up, it reflects us all. Pressure, it is. So I want to go ahead and talk about data because they be saying like numbers don't lie, right? So let's go ahead and get into this. So my source was McKinsey and Company, the Gallup survey, leanin.org, and Catalyst from 2021 through 2024. So what I did is I wanted to find out how Black professionals navigate different spaces and what experiences they've had within the workplace. So in regards to experience, and then I'm also going to give the percentage in regards to Black professionals reporting this. So the first experience, feeling the need to code switch to fit in, 58%. Having their judgment questioned in their areas of expertise, 48%. Being the only Black person in a professional setting, 55%. Having to work harder than colleagues to be seen as equal, 65%. Experiencing microaggressions at work, 66%. Feeling overlooked for promotion or leadership roles, 54%. Not trusting their workplace to handle DEI issues fairly, 67%. Now, you may ask in regards to what's the relevance of this in real time? Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you. Post 2020, DEI fatigue had led to many companies rolling back their equity initiatives. Black professionals are also leaving workplaces where they feel excluded or tokenized, often silently. Meaning they're not going to HR. They're not going and whistleblowing. They're not doing any of this. They're just leaving out, bowing out gracefully, which doesn't fix the problem. Representation without transformation is no longer enough. We need power, redistribution, not just visibility. In a time of economic uncertainty, Black employees are often the first let go and the last promoted. This is about more than careers. It's about mental health, legacy, and leadership. I'm talking about RESPECT. I'm trying to tell y'all. So, what does respect look like for us? Well, it's quite simple. A space to speak without interruption or tone correction. Meaning, I don't have to sit here and code switch and make sure that I articulate properly for you to hear my voice, my thoughts, my perception. Citing our ideas and giving credit in the room, meaning that when I say something, it does not have to be recited by another peer in order for it to, in fact, be given praise. Okay? All right. Allyship that advocates, not just observes, meaning stop being that person to call somebody after the fact when you know somebody did something wrong. Story time. I remember one day I had did a training, and or should I say I had attended a training, and the training went pretty well. And I remember a colleague had put on a video, and I'll never forget how I cried. I'll never forget how I teared up when I saw it. And I had to keep it together in that space because I kept thinking about how everybody would think of me if I broke down crying, because that's how I was feeling directly in that moment. I remember them saying in the video, it was a guy in a classroom with two other students, three other students, as a matter of fact. And one of the students in the back, who happened to be, I think he was like a Hispanic guy, I believe. And for no reason, he literally was like, "Get out my class right now." And the guy was so confused. He was like, "Why do I have to leave?" And the guy was like berating, get out of here. And he just went ahead, and the guy left, and he went ahead and went to his lesson. Well, then a girl raised her hand and was like, "Why did you do that? That wasn't nice." And the teacher asked him, "Well, why didn't you say anything? If you felt I did something wrong, why didn't you say nothing?" And the girl just kind of sat there, and he was like, "Do you want to have to leave?" And she was like, "No." And he's like, "This is the lesson I'm trying to teach you. If you see something, then you say something." And that's the entire concept behind it. But I want to talk about more in depth about what respect looks like. So, respect is giving room to disagree without fear or backlash. Because I have something to say as a Black woman, it should not make you feel unsafe if I disagree with you. And a lot of the times, that's directly what we run across. I want to understand and redefine exactly what the professionalism culture looks like so they can, in fact, be respected. I want to challenge the idea specifically of Black passion being seen as aggression. I want to normalize cultural expressions such as speech patterns and a cadence. I want to make room for emotional truth and not just technical facts. I want to talk about how to establish a team norm, not interruptions and equal speak time. I want to talk about using rotational facilitators. I want to talk about beginning meetings with communal agreements. I'll never forget when I was in college, when I was in Erickson, I kid you not. I remember Miss Louisa, I will never forget. And when I first did it with her, I thought it was the strangest thing on earth. She wanted to sit there the moment we walked into class. Everyone had a moment to give like a historical ancestral homage, or to give long story short, to give a story of appreciation for the land, for their ancestors, for their family. And when I first went to class, I was like, "This is strange. I'm not doing this. This don't make no sense. I'm not doing this." But I kid you not, the connection after just taking the time to really think about the people who were here before me, to think about what it must have been like for them, and to just show appreciation of where I am now. There's no other feeling of fulfillment. So let's talk about authenticity without penalty. That's challenging the expectation to leave parts of ourselves at the door. That's making space for culture, language, and emotion in leadership. That's affirming the Black excellence doesn't require conformity. So you're going to realize a lot within each of my presentation. There's a space for healing. There's a space in regards to affirmation on some of them. There's a space for healing. There's some reflection. It's some time to just kind of look in the mirror and just take a second to sit down and just breathe. And that's what I like y'all to do with me right now. I just like you to, I know this might seem a little strange, but when I first did it, it was kind of strange, but after a while, it ended up working. I want you to inhale and exhale. Just release all the drama, trauma, stress. Just let it all go. So I want to talk to you about what healing looks like in the room while having to still hold it. This is the emotional tax of managing others' discomfort. It's the toll of being the first, the only, or the few. It's building a community of support outside the boardroom. And it's creating a space within an organization to exhale. Ooh, I feel light as a feather. So let's talk about the tools for thriving in the boardroom. We didn't talk about what the boardroom is. We didn't talk about the behaviors, what to expect, what respect looked like for us, how to be authentic, and also how to heal and how to breathe that stress away for the most part. But we're going to talk about the tools for thriving in the boardroom. So mentorship and sponsorship from those who see you. That don't mean everybody's meant to be your mentor. Don't sit here and just think because someone is Black that person is meant to be your mentor, because you do not know that person's mindset. You need to pay attention. Let me get your pen and paper right now as a note. Please pay attention to who you share your life with. Please be careful in regards to who you sit here and think is a fellow comrade, fellow colleague, person who understands your struggles. Sometimes people just want to hear somebody gossip. And that's just the truth. That's facts. Some people ain't there to sit here and help you. They're more or less there to sit here and help someone else hurt you. It's the truth. It hurts, but it's the truth. I'm tired of my people walking around blind and sitting here getting blindsided by people that they didn't sit here and thought was, oh, that's my bro. Oh, that's my work wife. That's my work husband. That's my what. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not telling you that you have to sit here and be leery of every single person that you run across and that everybody's out to get you, but just have some discernment and speak to the Creator in regards to who should and who you should and should not have within your circle. Now I'm gonna get off that. So in regards to tools for thriving in the boardroom, setting boundaries with grace and strength, because boundaries are important. Asking who's missing and who's being silent, meaning ask people in the room who haven't been sitting here talking, because I guarantee you they have a lot to say. And calling in behaviors that harm without fear. Don't be like that girl in that video I told you that sat back down. Stand up and say, this isn't okay. And if that person has to leave, guess what? I got to leave out too. So I'm going to say something that truly resonates to this topic, this video, this presentation. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So I know this video was real heavy. I know it. But I really do want you to take the time to do that breathing exercise, because it really does help when you run across these types of situations. So my final words. For Black professionals, the boardroom is more than just a table. It's a tightrope walk between authenticity and assimilation. We are often expected to mute our brilliance or code switch our culture and carry the unspoken weight of representation. But as we learn to hone in the behaviors and to name them and to call out the double standards and to uplift each other in these spaces, we reclaim our power. Did you hear that? We reclaim our power. The goal is not just to have a seat at the table, but to sit fully, speak boldly, and lead unapologetically. I'm going to say that one more time for people in the back. The goal is not to just have a seat at the table. It's to sit fully, speak boldly, and lead unapologetically. Because our presence is not a privilege. It's a necessity. So always remember that and stay in that truth. So from Candace Renee, Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope this uplifts, sets somebody free, and I hope it builds that capacity within these spaces that we continue to in fact navigate. So until next week, I'll see you then.